In today's job market, what would you suggest is a great job and why? Story 1. I did not expect that my versatility would earn me a steady job, however, here we are. From a young age, I was that inquisitive child who would disassemble anything to understand how it works. Fixing the neighbor's broken lawnmower, helping a friend with a leaky sink, as well as many other nonsensical yet helpful activities pertaining to installation of LED lights in my cousin's car. During that was how I naturally was, as I just loved fixing things. Well, nowadays there's no single occupation that puts a lead on my activities. I leapfrog acquired jobs as a handyman, outside IT support, and even as a barista over weekends. One day's task is assembling an IKEA's puzzle for someone, while the very next day's challenge is data retrieval, or rather unclogging a sink. The irony is that in today's world where most individuals have refined their skills to one niche area, it is me who does everything, and I am in demand. I mean, just the other day, someone offered me $100 to fix the Wi-Fi and tighten a loose chair leg. All right, I'm not saying I'm going to make a fortune. However, work doesn't seem to be in short supply for me. I enjoy the diversity as well. Every day is different, and I get to do different tasks every time. Apparently, having a versatile skill set comes with numerous advantages, the best being that I am very marketable in this day and age. Story 2. Upon finishing nursing school, I was aware of the increased need for nurses, yet I was not prepared for how severe it would get. Almost immediately after passing boards, I found myself being bombarded with calls and emails from hospitals and clinics all over the country. Some even offered to pay me off completely so that I could start practicing with them. I recall one particular recruit that told me that I was just the person they were after. Anything goes, just name your price. On top of that, $20,000 sign-on bonus, along with 3 months of free accommodation in an already furnished house, was offered by another hospital. Because I am male, they acted as though I was a complete oddity, which, to be honest, was rather bizarre. My brother-in-law, who also works as a nurse, remarked that when he was graduating, the hospitals were after him like women drawing near to a football star on draft day. One can perspective it that the population is aging, lifespan increasing, and healthcare will always be there. The job is hard, 12-hour shift, managing life and death, but it has to be one of the most fulfilling occupations ever. In addition, there is the work-life balance. You can hone a particular aspect, go on tours, or change completely to roles such as teaching or managerial positions. If you want a profession with an assurance of job availability, reasonable salaries, and nobility, it is nursing for sure. Story 3. I never pictured myself working in cyber defense, but here I am. I was 26 years old and in a retail job which was going nowhere, and in mass amounts of student debts for a paper degree. Every single day seemed like I was just twisting in circles with no movement. One evening, whilst slouched on my couch, I was looking through several job posts for a good while when I came across an entry in regard to some junior positions in the cybersecurity industry. Degree not needed, only certificates. Initially, I did doubt this looked too unrealistic. However, I later happened to read some articles, watched some videos on the web, and visited some communities. As it turns out, after a couple of months of self-study and CompTIA Security Plus cert in hand, anyone can do this. And so I gambled. I dedicate every free time of mine to attending lectures, training myself in practice labs, and at the end, I received my first certificate. A year passes by and I'm already a security analyst at a mid-sized company making almost 6 figures. The most exciting thing is that I work mostly from home, have flexible working hours, and I love my job. The role keeps evolving every day. It's all about staying ahead of adversaries, risk assessment, and reinforcement. The demand is so high that job prospects are guaranteed. If you have even the slightest interest in technology and are looking for a career with potential, then cybersecurity is the job for you. This is by far one of the very few markets where 4 years and a lot of money do not need to be wasted on acquiring a degree, and the returns are phenomenal. Story 4. I used to think that I would never say this, but it is worth my time to get into software development. The experience transformation began with the pandemic. I had stayed indoors and most of the activities had come to an end, and so I asked myself, why not try one of those free coding classes? In the beginning, it was like going to a place where they speak a foreign language with all their speech. But with time and practice, it fell into place. And ease knew the diversity of this field. Developing applications and websites is only a tip of the iceberg. Every sector requires software. At last, I created a niche in health sans the focus area, and it is exceedingly profitable. I'm not simply coding. I am a part of systems which enhances procedures, machines, and so on that can literally be the difference between life and death. Here's another thing that I cannot keep quiet about. The salary is amazing. I'm earning an amount that was beyond my imagination. It is capable of creating a good rainy day fund which has saved me during times when I was retrenched. True that I may experience jobless, but the rate at which developers are needed all over the world, I knew I would get another job soon. Moreover, the majority of the positions offered are fixed 9. 5 jobs, therefore, I enjoy a wonderful work-life balance. If you are even a tiny bit interested, I must recommend you to try it. No qualifications are required to begin, thanks to the plethora of help available to facilitate learning. Story 5. A few years back, I found a job advertisement that seemed like satire. Get paid to nap. I clicked on it out of curiosity, and it turned out to be true. Some furniture company had put up an advertisement for hiring a sleep experience consultant. It was one who tested their mattresses or sofas for comfort. I put in my application more as a prank for them and somehow got an interview. I thought to myself, why not? And then they told me that I would simply... There was no simply about it. They said that during the day I would be napping in different prototypes and I would have to give an elaborate assessment talking about comfort, support, and how the furniture ensued withstood the test of time. I would also have to carry out that work actions consisting of setting calls to alert me, filling of ellipsoids, and once in a while in front of the camera for purposes of advertising. At first, my friends were skeptical about its authenticity until I posted it on social media. But when I revealed the salary, quite good with allowances, they were speechless. Sleeping, whatever the time, is paid for? Seriously. And this is because the employer treated the vacancy with utmost veracity. If their clients do not sleep well, it affects their sales, their profits. In the course of time, I learned to pay real attention to the details such as different fabrics can feel different at different temperatures or how your back can be supported in a certain angle. Sure, it is awkward telling people about my occupation. However, in fact, I have never had this level of comfort in work in my life. Yes, I earn quite well. I have a lot of sleep, and I wish my work was to make people sleep well. It's a bit keen, I admit, however. It suits well in the present-day business world, which feels like a battlefield. Will anyone refuse to have such a job? Story 6. I must admit, I was never ambitious enough to become a chef, but I am doing it, and quite frankly, I made one of the best choices in my life. The income is decent, way beyond average perception, particularly when one gets into the right kind of restaurant. I mean not only the salary that pays the rent, but other additional payments that at times are akin to winning a lottery. There is a stereotype that chefs are poor and suppressed artists. Well, in fact, if one has the right skills, it is a highly profitable line of work. No, I'm not saying it is an easy, fun post to hold. The work is grueling, with shifts lasting between 12 to 14 hours spent standing on your feet in a hot and messy kitchen, which may be the bright side of it. This is a stressful situation where the timeline for each task is quite short, and you are always in solving mode. I know the feeling when everything is in place, and the kitchen operates like a finely tuned clock. Divine. Memories are crafted for each and every client that steps in the door because that's how the group is oriented. And this also makes it different from other jobs in that there is a creative side to it. You are not just making dishes as per defined methods, you are making a sense, adjusting, forming your exclusive dishes, and mastering new styles. And there is also an aspect of it that gives one the chance to work in a non-restricting environment. I can choose to remain in the region or move to another city or country, all which have a steady need for capable cooks. It will take sweat and energy, but in ways and degrees that are highly surprising me. It will pay off both in cash and in some other psychological reward. Story 7. I honestly never thought that I would be the one who would ever endorse anything so intense as oncology. Yet here I am. My cousin's an oncologist, and while the profession is tasking emotionally and psychologically, it is also rewarding in a way which other professions can't most of the times. He works long hours and at odd times, but has never been bothered about the availability of jobs for oncologists. The job opportunities available for oncologists is growing and never declines. And I know the earnings from this profession is quite good, but honestly, that is not what motivates him. It's the difference that he makes in people's lives. From the perspective of the patient, he assists them in going through perhaps their darkest and most confusing period of their lives and helps them find hope where very little exists. From resolving why one has to get ready to deliver good news about remission to being available when the news is wrong, he says it feels good to be a part of those watershed moments. It goes without saying that not everyone is cut out for this. You must prepare yourself for some frank exchanges and heavy emotional-laden days. But should you be able to do that, it is a demanding yet rewarding profession. As if that is not enough, oncology is a dynamic field that changes all the time. New treatment regimens, new research that is revelatory. One can relish being at the forefront of therapeutics and also bear fruits in uplifting the quality of people's lives. Given the ability to bounce back and an unwavering passion to assist distressed individuals, one can easily conclude that oncology is indeed a calling worth pursuing. Story 8. I am not surprised to find myself in this position, but I have to say this: being an HR manager without any doubt is among the best things I have made in my life. To be cincter, I used to be a cynic about it, thought it was just a lot of paperwork, absurd rules, obnoxious compliance checklists, and the NJC of everyone delivering unpleasant messages. But upon getting into the field, I discovered how wrong I had been. My days are a combination of problem-solving, coaching, and networking. I aid in tricky situations, for example. When there is a dispute, I help in resolving it or speak on their behalf, about work-life equilibrium. I also like doing a lot of things, such as engaging in activities that raise people's spirits, like running a health initiative or carrying out team bonding exercises. And there are difficult conversations, though, but how well they are done can make one feel good, knowing that it has been done for a good cause and the person is able to move on. And it is quite in addition that any organization always requires human resources, making it a stable career and with many opportunities available. The climbing to the top becomes more financial rewarding. The variations in work allows no boredom. If you are a person who enjoys, while at the same time is able to deal with people and turn to some extent be disordered, then this position is a very good attempt to go for. Story 9. I can't believe this, but if you want an easy life where you create your own time and earn a shocking amount of money, becoming a politician might be the best option. Allow me to explain. These individuals are able to build a career where they are accompanied by a huge entourage of aides who shower them with compliments and assessments, whether they pay attention to it or not, and earn remuneration which most of us can barely imagine. But wait, the best is, it does not even come from the official paycheck of the structures they represent. It comes in the form of going on tours, writing a few books, taking part in charities, and many more. After that, once you earn the title of ex-senator or similar, all the available opportunities seem to beckon. One is treated to such high social functions with a ready army of people who'll pay exorbitant fees just to listen to or lend one's name on something. And the ceiling of this house has a little something to do with a lot of people's egos. You are directly given an opportunity to enact law and make policies. Hence you are in the real disturbing change business. Or at least you can act so, if you can keep your stomach full in the process. It goes without saying that the campaign trail is a difficult and public exposed period. However, once you are there, it's very much unlikely that you will be kicked out unless you do something which is beyond exceptional. Ample opportunities also exist immediately one vacates office. Work as a lobbyist, go work for a think tank, make some television appearances. Some of them never get to the point where they're tired. Availability of gossamer skin and average traits of charisma one may find that politics is the most rewarding and easy job in existence within the present era. Story 10. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be advocating for plumbing as a profession. Yet here I find myself doing just that. A few years back, my cousin quit college and opted to do apprenticeship instead. Everyone thought that he was about to make the worst mistake of his life and practically waste his future. But cut to the present day, my cousin runs his own plumbing business, making 6 figures. The catch about plumbing is that it is recession-proof. Every other job nowadays goes out of business. However, people will always fix their toilets and unclog pipes. Whether a burst pipe occurs on a winter day or there is a need to install a new water heater, plumbing jobs are always available. And because there still exists this funny notion about blue-collar jobs, fewer people are joining the workforce, hence increasing the demand and pay for these professions. That cousin of mine also narrated to me the story of a major project in which he was involved. Somebody busted the water main of a commercial establishment, and he was called to fix it. That job lasted almost a week, and 1 week's pay was more than what many people earned in a whole month. What amazed me even more is the fact that he really enjoys doing the job. He gets to bully clients into working at hours he wants, choose which client to work for, and he says arguably the best part is getting to the scene of the problem, fixing it and leave everything in good working condition. Of course, it is not the cleanest or the most glamorous of professions, yet who gives a damn when the money is good and there are no higher education debts to pay off? If I were ever to go back to my teenage years and had a choice again, it is extremely likely that I would do as he does. Story 11. This may come as a surprise to many who know me and even to myself, but constructing buildings is perhaps the best career decision I have ever made. While I was in school, particularly in high school, I was always clueless of the career path I would take. For starters, college felt like a trap. That is, 4 years of both depression and student loans to acquire a degree I was not even sure would be of any use to me. Besides, I had a friend who was already in the construction business and making good money, hence persuaded me to give it a try. At first I was not convinced. Waking up very early to go to the construction site, lifting heavy loads, working in sun and rain, it all sounded painful. Nevertheless, the deeper I went into it, the more I understood the benefits it could offer. That feeling when one starts with just dirt all the way to constructing a building or a road that will serve people for generations is something else. Not to mention, it's not just crazy hard work. At first I could do a few things with my hands, such as welding, plumbing, and even reading blueprints. I'm not a mere worker anymore. I'm building a set of skills that will come in handy and increase my worth on every passing year. And the assurance of a job? There's no comparison. Provided that there will always be houses, schools, and office buildings that need construction, there will always be a need for people of my profession. As a result, I am now aspiring to the position of a foreman, which offers higher wages and extra duties of operation. And the most exciting thing? I live without debts, happily earn money, keep my body fit, and construct something worthwhile every day. Story 12. As a child, I anticipated that a career in music had everything to do with popularity and wealth, high-end tours, full stadiums, and hundreds of records sold. However, I would like to note that not only it, but playing music professionally entails a lot of things. And to be honest, it brings the most enjoyment in one's life only if one really loves music. For me, it is the feeling you get after performing, be it 5 or 5,000, you will always be so engrossed in their lives. No other occupation will allow you to experience this way of working. Their calendar would even get intertwined with yours. First kiss, cry in the bathroom after a breakup, wedding days, or a simple day when they just want to listen to a good song. There are many costs to this lifestyle, of course. There are long hours, potential losses of income, and as if all of this isn't enough, one has to hustle, pounding the pavement looking for gigs, self-promotion, and writing songs. If you are in this line of work, there is no punching in and there is no punching out. It is 24/7. But then someone comes up to you and says that your song helped him when he was going through a lot or made him feel understood, and at that moment all those hours make sense. Furthermore, Thanks to the likes of YouTube and Spotify, shaking off a record company is no longer a hindrance to achieving worldwide success. It's not simply about hitting the big time, it's about affecting change. You know, the music really does bring people together and brings them feelings, and that is why right here is where the beauty of this profession lies for me. Story 13. I used to think being a weather forecaster was a joke. I mean, how do you keep your job if you are wrong half of the time? But then my friend Jake started taking interest in meteorology, and I was like, oh, okay, this is a serious profession. First of all, a weather forecast is much harder than it appears. It is not simply looking the sky and making assumptions. They have crazy data and plenty of guessing games to work out. So yes, they get it wrong occasionally, but here is the most fascinating part of it all. People do not even give a hoot about it. If one is told it is going to rain, and at the end of the day it remains completely sunny, the majority simply do not care and move on. And on top of that, Jake claims the salary envelope is decent, attractive fringe benefits, and practically you will have the job for life. Always there is want for a weather forecast, isn't it? And even more so if you are that weather person on the television, you are a celebrity in that area. Jake says he cannot even enter the supermarket without being asked if they need to carry an umbrella tomorrow. Also, thanks to how crazy the weather is getting these days, like crazy storms and extreme heat, this is also a profession that is sure to gain more relevance. Quite frankly, it is one of the few professions that one can comfortably occupy where being wrong is not just allowed but encouraged.